Chapter 4, Continuing with the Sound. The second P, Phonological Awareness. You are starting this chapter with a beginning understanding of the possible 48 phonemes of Canadian English, how to recognize them, and how to pronounce them. You are not expected to be an expert at phonemic awareness at this point, just a practicing learner. A basic understanding of phonemics is needed before we move on to the next level of our 3P approach, phonological awareness. Phonological awareness? Phonological awareness takes the awareness of phonemes to a higher level. As we approach a phonological understanding, we will ask some questions. What happens when we combine these phonemes into word parts into words, and words into sentences? Can we hear the different sounds these basic units of sound make when they come together in word parts? Can we hear the different word parts, word rooms, and syllables in each word? Can we hear the different words in each sentence? Phonemes combine to make word parts combine to make words combine to make sentences combine to make paragraphs. Just as in phonemic awareness, the second P of our approach is still all about the sound. We have, however, advanced from the basic unit of sound to the combined units of sound. Our focus is still on what we are hearing, more so than what we are seeing. What we are hearing more so than what we are seeing. Why have we not even been introduced to the alphabet yet? The alphabet is a very basic part of understanding any language, for sure. No doubt it does seem strange that I have yet to introduce it. I want you to have a good, solid, beginning understanding of phonemic and phonological awareness before we dive into phonics. Rest assured, the alphabet and all its combinations will be discussed in greater detail in upcoming chapters. So much so that by the time we finish phonics, you will know more about the English alphabet than you want to. Remember that letters and their combinations, graphemes, only represent sound. The alphabet and graphemes in their relationship to sound fall under our third P, phonics. Phonics is the starring P in our learning journey, and we'll be getting plenty of our focus as we proceed. So for now, let's give the second P a bit of attention before we move on. The second P, phonological awareness. What we will cover in this chapter is the sound we hear in things called onset, rhyme, alliteration, and rhyme. We will also revisit our word work steps so we can learn to hear, speak, build, and count the syllables in words. Just keep in mind as we proceed, it isn't about the letter combinations and words we are seeing here. It is about the sounds they are making. Your learning task in this chapter is to pick out, identify the difference and similarities in phoneme combinations. All about the sound. What is onset and rhyme? This is a simple to explain and hopefully to understand. The onset is the beginning of a word and the rhyme is the end. Phonemes come together to make an onset and they come together to make a rhyme. Then when we combine the onset and rhyme together, we have a word. Onsets and rhymes occur in one-syllable words mostly. Onset is before the vowel sound, and rhyme, which is the ending of the word, starts with the vowel sound. So as we go from here, there are two questions I will be asking. What sounds are you hearing at the beginning of a word, and what sounds are you hearing at the end? If I were to say B, you would hear the phonetic sound B at the onset and the phonetic sound I or E as they rhyme. onset, rhyme. B, E. If I were to say C or C, you would hear the same rhyme we had in B, but a different onset. Onset, S, rhyme, E. C. If I were to say so or so or so, you would hear the same onset, but a different rhyme. Please note, this chapter is not about the spelling of words. It is about the sound. That is why the phonetic symbols are being used rather than letters. The above words only have two sounds because they are open syllables ending with a vowel sound. Most of one-syllable words will have a vowel sound between two consonant vowels. Vowel sound. K, e, t, cat. The onset is the k. The rhyme is the at. Again, we are using phonetic symbols and not letters. Go back to your IPA chart as needed to sound them out. One phoneme is the onset, two phonemes in the rhyme. Not about the spelling, but the sound. Let's build on that rhyme in cat by changing the onset. We will still want to hear the at phoneme combination. The onset, at, rat, at, mat, at, bat. Let's change the rhyme now to match the onset of each of these words. Please sound out each onset and rhyme as we go. Feel free to go back to the IPA site as often as you need to refresh your memory of the phonemes. When we change the rhyme, we can change one phoneme at a time. We will start with the vowel phoneme by changing the ah sound for the schwa e sound. So we have ka-et, ka-at, ka-at, cot, ra-at, rat, ma-at, mat, not a word in English, ba-at, bat, Can you see what we are doing? At least, are you gaining at least some understanding of onset and rhyme? Now let's go back to using the eh sound, vowel sound, and this time we will change the last phoneme t in the rhyme and replace it with a a and make r, which creates one sound. R. Onset k, r. R. Not a word in English. R. Not a word in English. But if I add the S sound to the end of that rhyme, Mars. Mars. Bars. Bars. In these examples, we have one phoneme in our rhymes. We can also have two phonemes in our onset. Onset, rhyme. That's two phonemes. R, star, stars. In this word, we have four sounds. Two in the onset, two in the rhyme, R, makes one sound. So what is the point of these onset and rhymes? As we become more and more familiar with phonemes and the combination of certain phonemes together, we become more familiar with certain onsets and rhymes. Once we are familiar with onset and rhyme sounds, it becomes easier to recognize them when we are hearing them and using them when we are speaking. Then, when we can add them to our understanding of phonics, when we get there, it will be so much easier to read, write, and spell. Though I tend to stress the beginning, middle, and ending approach to word encoding and decoding, many others find it much simpler in the beginning to focus on onset and rhyme. Of course, that only applies to one-syllable words. One-syllable words. Let's look at the sound of some commonly used rhymes. Rhymes that end in a vowel sound, one phoneme, in one column. The next column is rhymes that end in a vowel and a consonant, at least two phonemes. First column. You, blue, blue. See, key. Oh, snow, blow, toe. A, as in day, hay. Oi, as in boy, joy. I, as in eye, sky, high. Ow, as in now and plow. Second column. Short A, as in bad, mad, with the D. With the T, bat, mat. With the D, ed, bed, red. With the T, et, pet, jet. With the N, in, pin. With the P, ip, rip, sip. With the T, it, pit, sit. Back to the first column. R sound. R, car, fur. The sound. Fur, fur. The sound. Pour, tore. Back to the second column. The schwa, E, and the T, which makes an O sound, the short O sound. Ought, pot, spot. Short U sound, and the N, un. Fun, sun. Short U and the T, ut, cut, hut. Onsets and rhymes, when repeated in speech, seem to stick to our memories better, so they are often easier to recognize and use. Repeated phonemes stick to our memory better. Repeated phonemes in rhymes. Repeating those ending sounds in rhymes creates rhyme. Rhyme is used in poetry and nursery rhymes. By having words with the same rhyme sound ending phrases and or sentences in a certain pattern, rhyme is created. Rhyme creates rhyme. It's raining, it's pouring, the old man is snoring. He bumped his head on the middle of the bed and couldn't get up in the morning. In the familiar nursery rhyme above, we have the repetition of rhyme ending each sentence. In sentence 1, 2, 3, we have the snoring repeated. In sentence 3 and 4, we have the ed repeated. We went from rhyme to rhyme. Let's listen to these beautiful lines, one of my favorite poems, The Rime of the Ancient Mariner by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Part 1, lines 8 to 10. Ironically, there is a word rhyme right in the title to assist us in a discussion about rhyme. The fair breeze blew, the white foam flew, the furrow followed free. We hear the repetition of the phoneme u in you at the end of the first phrase and at the end of the second. The rhymes in blew and flew then create rhythm and a certain musical cadence in the poem. It also makes it easier to remember the words of the poem. Onset rhyme. Blew, flew, blew and flew. This is rhyme from repeated rhyme. Repeated phonemes in onset. When similar phonemes are repeated in the onset of words, we call that alliteration. This can either enhance speech, as in spoken poetry, or it can make it more difficult, as in tongue twisters. Let's listen to these beautiful lines from the Rime of the Ancient Mariner again. The fair breeze blew, the white foam flew, the furrow followed free. In that line, we hear the F sound repeated in air, fair, foam, flew, furrow, followed, and free. That is a lot of F. It adds a certain music to the poem. Yet alliteration is not always beautiful. It can make speech difficult too, as in, she sells seashells by the seashore. In this line, we have a repetition of two similar yet different phonemes, the S and the sh. The combination of the two make tongue placement from one sound to the other challenging, especially when we are speaking quickly. That is why these are called tongue twisters. Whether we are twisting our tongues for fun, creating poetry, or simply getting a handle on the English language, onset and rhyme can help us understand English better through sound. Phonemes combined make onset and rhymes, but they also make syllables. Unlike the words we used for our examples above, many words have more than one syllable. Phonemes also make complete word part and rooms called syllables. Syllables, like rhymes, contain a vowel. In fact, they must contain a vowel to be a syllable. How many syllables are in a word? Can you tell from certain words you are hearing how many syllables are in the word? Can you tell when you are about to speak how many syllables will be in that word? One way, and the best way to ensure we are hearing every syllable or about to pronounce every syllable, is to count the vowel sounds. Count the vowel sounds you are hearing. How do I count vowels? Clap or tap them out. Just as you might do when you are listening to music, tapping and clapping along with the beat, you can clap and tap along with every vowel sound you are hearing. If I said results, you will hear the E is the first syllable, and that is one clap. And then you'll hear that short U or sound in the last syllable. That will be another clap or tap. Again, if you're not yet familiar with the sounds of the phonetic symbols I'm using, go back to the IPA chart and listen. Results. Two vowels. Let's clap out a few words. Atomic. Atomic. We see the three vowel sounds that we're hearing. 3 syllables. Activity. 4 claps, 4 vowel sounds. This works well as long as you are at the point of your learning where you recognize the vowel sounds when you hear them. If you're not yet hearing vowel sounds, you can count them another way. Jaw drops. Every time you pronounce a vowel, your jaw will drop. One easy way to count your syllables, then, is to count how many times the jaw of the person who is speaking drops. You can also place your hand just under your own chin, say the word out loud to yourself, and count how many times your chin hits your hand. Let's try it. Place your hand under your chin and say the following words. Balloon. 2 jaw drops, 2 syllables. Tomato. 3 jaw drops, 3 syllables. Television. 4 jaw drops, 4 syllables. Refrigerator. 5 jaw drops, 5 syllables. Of course, you can also just listen for those vowel sounds and count them. Before we get on to our steps to word work, let's review what we learned so far in this chapter. Let's review phonological awareness. Again, you can pause this at any time so that you can answer your questions appropriately. Number 1, phonological awareness depends more on what we see than what we hear. A, true. B, false. Number 2, graphemes are an important consideration in phonological awareness. A, true. B, false. Number 3, onset refers to the beginning of a one-syllable word. A, true. B, false. Number 4, the following are true about rhymes. A, they are the ending of a word. B, they contain a vowel sound. C, they help to create rhyme in poems and nursery rhymes. D, all the above. Number 5, sound out and complete the chart below using the IPA. We'll have the picture, then we'll have the onset, the rhyme, and the number of phonemes to fill out. So the first one, A, cat, onset, k, rhyme, at, number of phonemes, 3. B, you see a picture of a bat, b, at. The B is the onset, the A, E, and T phonetic symbols are the rhyme. Number of phonemes, 3. Bat. And then you'll continue completing that. Pause here, take your time to complete this chart. Great job. Number 6, count the syllables in each word by reading the word out loud or having the word read to you. Use the clapping it out or jaw drop technique. A, bedtime. B, sipper. C, lemonade. D, telephone. E. Vocabulary. F. Spider web. G. Alphabetical. H. Electricity. Great job. You completed another review exercise. Please try to check your answers first by going through the text, and secondly by checking the answers in the table at the end of the chapter. So as we proceed with this chapter on phonological awareness, we're going to need to review the word work process that was introduced in chapter 1. Do you remember this? Building, speaking, writing, spelling. Number 1, decide on the number of syllable rooms you will need for your word. Number 2, will there be a prefix? Number 3, start with the first syllable. Number 4, beginning, build the first consonant wall or walls if it isn't an open syllable room. 5, middle, what will the vowel sound and spelling be? 6, ending, will there be a consonant wall or will the room be open on this side? Build the final wall or walls. Number 7, will there be a suffix? Number 8, go on to the next syllable and do the same. For breaking down, reading, and listening. Number 1, divide the word into chunks or syllables. Number 2, is there a prefix there? Number 3, start with the first syllable. Number 4, beginning, tear down, sound out the first consonant wall if it isn't an open syllable. Number 5, middle, what is the vowel sound being spelled out? Number 6, ending, are there consonant walls here, or is it an open room? Tear down, which is equal to sound out the final wall or walls. Number 7, is there a suffix? Number 8, go on to the next syllable and do the same. Understanding the sound in word parts. Remember our apartment building analogy? When we speak, write, or spell, we are building or encoding something to share meaning and message. Think of that thing we're building as a multi-level apartment building we are constructing word by word. When we read or listen, we are tearing down something to get to the meaning and sound. We are deconstructing or decoding this apartment building word by word. In phonemic and phonological awareness, we build or tear down one root at a time to get to each sound. In our imaginary building, each word makes one apartment. Each word part, each syllable, is a separate room in that apartment. We build or tear down each apartment room by room. Remember, though, some words only have one syllable, so we can skip the step that requires us to divide words into syllables. These one-syllable words are like open concept apartments with only one room. Cat, dog, man, ran, tin, cup, pup. How do we know if it is a one-syllable word that does not need to be broken down into other word parts or rooms? Remember, each word part requires a vowel sound. A one-syllable word only has one vowel sound. One draw drop is felt or observed or planned. One-syllable word only have one vowel sound. Other words have more syllables. Each syllable makes a room inside each apartment. Important. is an apartment with 3 rooms. Or ordinary is an apartment with 4 rooms. Intelligent is an apartment also has 4 rooms. When decoding, count the jaw drops to count syllables. Words can be broken down into syllables, word rooms. Syllables, word rooms can be broken down into word parts. Word parts can be broken down into phonemes. When building, how many syllable word rooms will you be building? Start with the first phoneme in the first syllable. Build word parts, build rooms, build your apartment. Words have word parts, and each word part can be further broken down by the sounds heard. Learning or mastering English this way is all about the sound. Word, electricity. 5 jaw drops, 5 syllables, electricity. Second syllable, the word room, lek. Beginning is the L, the middle is the E, the ending is the K. 3 phonemes, L, E, K. Remember, we're still talking about the sounds we are hearing, thus the IPA symbols and not the spelling. It is important to learn how to recognize and understand the sound in each word part. Even though you may be off to a great start in your English speaking and reading with word recognition, we are going to pull back just a bit to learn how to break down and build up each word part into the sounds that these letters make. We are going to focus on the smaller units, which are the word parts or syllables. Most of the words I will be providing in the upcoming lists will be 1-syllable words. Think of the 1-syllable words we'll be looking at as word parts. 1-syllable words are just single rooms or word parts. Are you ready to bring the sound into your reading and writing? The beginning, middle, and ending of word parts and the sounds they make. When we attempt to look at and understand words better, it is often easier to do so in a systemic way, going from the beginning to the end of the word or word part. So we will proceed by finding, sounding out, and understanding the beginning, the middle, and the end. Beginning, middle, and end in word parts are 1-syllable words. Beginning. Looking for these to build or decode. The beginning single consonant sounds, beginning 2-sound consonant blends, beginning 3-sound consonant blends, beginning digraphs, vowel sound, if it is an open syllable room, and the onset. For the middle, we are looking for these to build or decode. Short vowel sound, long vowel sound, question mark, diphthongs, vowel trigraphs, part of a rhyme. In the ending, we're looking for these to build or decode. Ending vowel sound, if open syllable, ending vowel diphthong, ending vowel included trigraph, single consonant sound if it's a closed syllable, ending consonant blend, ending digraph, ending consonant trigraph, part of a rhyme. Don't worry, we're going to cover this slowly, step by step. Let's review what we learned about word work so far. Number 1. What is step 1 of building or breaking down words? A. Chunk, divide into syllables, determine how many syllables will be needed. B. Determine if the first syllable is or will be a prefix. C. Start with this first syllable and the first consonant wall of that syllable. Or D. Find or offer the vowel sound in the first syllable. And again, feel free to pause at any point to get more time to answer your questions. Number 2, we build words when we speak, write, or spell. A, true, B, false. Number 3. When we break down words to their smallest unit of sound and smallest unit of meaning, that is, to apply A, encoding, B, decoding, C, constructing or building the apartment room by room, or D, deconstructing or tearing down the apartment room by room. 4. When a word part syllable word room begins with a vowel, it is A, an onset, B, a rhyme, C, a closed syllable, or D, an open syllable. Number 5. In the apartment building analogy of word building and decoding, a syllable is compared to A, the entire apartment building, B, one apartment in the building, C, one room in the apartment, or D, the closet in one room. Number 6. Which of the following is a syllable in headboard? H-E, O-A, C, R-D, or D, H-E-A-D. Number 7. A syllable must have a vowel sound. A, true, B, false. Eight. One-syllable words can have two vowel sounds. A, true, B, false. Number 9. How many syllables in tomato? A, 2, B, 3, C, 4, or D, 5. Number 10. How many vowel sounds are heard in tomato? A2, B3, C4, or D5. Number 11. What is true about the last syllable of tomato? A, ends in a consonant sound, so it is a closed syllable. B, ends in a vowel sound, so it is an open syllable. Great job! You just completed another review exercise. With each one you do, your practice should be getting easier. Remember, we do not have to answer every question perfectly. We just need to learn from every incorrect answer should we get them. Answers to review questions. Phonological awareness review. Number 1, B, false. Number 2, B, false. 3, A, true. 4, D, all the above. 5, we're going right down to C. We see a symbol of the B or a picture of the B. We're going to have the B, phonological notation. The E, which is an I with 2 dots or an IY. And this is going to equal to 2 phonemes. For D, we see a picture of stars. So we have the S phonetic symbol, the T phonetic symbol, the R phonetic symbol, and the S. This too is equal to 4 phonemes. Then we go to E. We see a wave representing the C. So we have an S phonetic symbol, the I colon or the IY, which is the E sound, which is equal to 2 phonemes as well. F, we see C again, this time referring to the site. We see 2 I's. So we have the S again as a phonetic symbol. We have the I colon or the IY phonetic symbol. And this 2 equals 2 phonemes in C. G, we have a picture of the sun. We start with the S phonetic symbol. We see the upside down V, which is the short U symbol, and the N symbol. So we have 3 phonemes in that. We also go to H. We see the run. So we see someone running. So we have the phoneme. Then we have the upside down V phonetic symbol, meaning the short U sound. And then we have the N phoneme, phonetic symbol N. 3 phonemes. For the last part of that question, number 6, syllable count. In the first word, A, we have 2 syllables heard. B, we hear 2 syllables. C, we hear 3 syllables. D, we hear 3 syllables. E, we hear 5 syllables. F, we hear 3 syllables. G, we hear 5 syllables. And H, we hear 5 syllables. Going down to the last word work review. Number 1, we have A, chunk and divide. 2, we have A, true. 3, the answer is both B and D. 4 is D. 5 is C. 6 is D. 7, A is true. B is false. 9B is 3. 10B, 3. 11B, open syllable. So we've finished our section on phonological awareness, the second P of our 3P approach to mastering English. We have spent a lot of time so far talking about the sounds that are heard in English. Now we are finally ready to connect the sound to the letters and words. We are ready to explore the third and probably most important P on our English learning journey, phonics. Buckle up, it's going to move fast from here.